A lot of people really struggle with fat loss and staying lean, despite the fact that they may actually be doing a good bit of cardio. So today I'm going to explain why cardio isn't that overly effective for fat loss and what you can do instead, which is not only a lot more enjoyable, but maybe significantly more effective for your long-term fat loss goals. First, I'm going to quickly run through the different components of your metabolism, because this is actually where you're going to be burning energy and thus driving fat loss. First is your resting metabolic rate. This covers all of your body's basic functions: nervous system activity, breathing, circulation, and the function of your different organs. Despite what some might say, your resting metabolic rate isn't that overly changeable, so it's not something that we need to get too worried about. Next, we have the thermic effect of feeding, and this is essentially just the amount of energy that you burn to digest your food. Then we have exercise thermogenesis, and as the name suggests, this essentially entails the amount of energy that you burn during exercise, specifically cardiovascular exercise in the context of this video. And a big issue that you'll find with not only cardio but also resistance exercise is it doesn't actually burn that many calories unless you're doing a fair bit of it in a week. And this just means that unless you're doing a lot of training, exercise thermogenesis typically doesn't contribute that much to your overall energy burn. The final aspect of your metabolism that is very changeable is your non-exercise activity thermogenesis. This is, of course, the activity that you don't do during exercise, and it brings us to the point of this video, which is walking. Walking overall is a superior tool for fat loss versus something like cardiovascular exercise. Essentially what we're trying to do here is increase our daily NEAT through walking more steps in a day. When you expand this across a block of weeks and months, this can actually have a pretty substantial effect on your results. Why is walking such a good tool for fat loss? One of the big things that I like to consider with clients is that it doesn't actually require that much effort and motivation to make it happen. It's relatively easy to go out for a stroll in the morning or in the evening, to walk your dog, or to meet up with a friend and go for a walk in nature. Another aspect of it that makes it a great tool for fat loss is that it's very easy to standardize by tracking your steps in your phone or through your fitness device or watch. We get our clients to track their steps, and it makes it easy to plot this over a graph, which we can view then across time. Walking is also an excellent stress management tool, and there is research that shows that walking in nature can improve parameters of mental health. We spend so much time indoors, but if we can make a habit of getting out for a stroll once per day, not only will this help us with our fat loss or weight management goals, but it's also going to be great for conserving our mental health and managing our stress. You can also stack other positive habits with walking, such as listening to a podcast or an audiobook. There's such a great range of podcasts and audiobooks out there, and it's such a great way of stacking a positive habit that you're doing to improve your fat loss outcomes with improvements in your knowledge. Now you might be saying, surely you don't burn that much more calories by walking 10,000 steps per day versus doing 30 to 45 minutes of cardio. And you'd be right in saying this. However, it's much easier, generally speaking, to hit 10 to 12,000 steps per day than it is to do 30 to 45 minutes of cardio multiple times per week. And it's this consistency of almost every day that makes walking a really good tool when it comes to fat loss. One of the biggest challenges when it comes to fat loss is your metabolism adapting down to meet the calorie deficit that you've created, but this can be somewhat overcome by standardizing your steps, increasing your steps, or using a weighted vest or walking on an incline whenever you're going out for your walks. There's also small behavioral changes throughout your day that'll make hitting your step count a little bit easier, such as parking further away in the shop or taking the stairs instead of using the lift. For office workers out there, you can also take more regular activity breaks by walking around the perimeter of your office building, or if you're working from home, walking around the perimeter of your house. Now, although walking is a fantastic tool for fat loss, and I have talked about how it generally is superior than cardio, we still don't want to avoid cardio completely. Cardio can still be a useful tool when you're in a fat loss phase, but it's better to frame it as a health and recovery improvement modality rather than something that's going to help you drive fat loss. If you're really trying to drive fat loss through the increase in energy expenditure, I'd recommend trying to set a step count that is higher than what you're currently doing, or as I said earlier, stack it with some of those other changes, such as using a weighted vest or using an inclined surface. Now, you don't need to hit 10,000 steps, but if your step count is currently around 2,000 or 3,000, making that 5,000, 6,000 or 7,000 is actually going to have positive impacts on your energy expenditure and thus your fat loss and weight management. My clients also find it useful to look at their step count on a weekly basis rather than a daily basis, because this means that you can have certain days that are lower in steps and certain days that are higher in steps based on the facilitation of your schedule and your routine. So that's it for this video, guys. If you have any other questions, do leave a comment down below. And if you liked the video, make sure you're subscribed for more evidence-based health, nutrition, and fitness content.